Loving and gracious Father, you are indeed the giver of all good gifts. And we come together this day to seek your wisdom, guidance, courage, and strength. Be with us in our deliberations and help us to be wise in the decisions we make for the good of all those who have placed their trust and confidence in our leadership. All glory be to you, loving God, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
On
the
the
Texas
Texas
flag.
flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, we'll have a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Kevin Kishnick.
Here.
Devin Bakta. Susie Sullivan.
Here.
Ed Bennett.
Here.
Caitlin Shu.
Here.
John Cudd.
Here.
Deanne Haviland. Gabriella Hillpole. James McGill.
Present.
Ramiro Canales.
Here.
Leticia Roberts.
Here.
Melissa Vela.
Here.
Terry Noe.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you very much. Call the meeting to order. The meeting of the Board of Directors, Nueces County Appraisal District is called to order, and let the record show we have a quorum of board members present. That this meeting has been duly called, and notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code 551, and that any conflicts of interest and affidavits have been received and placed on file as required by law. Do we have anybody for public comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the people we have for the public comment, what we're gonna do on this is we're gonna discuss that. We will allow you guys to come speak during the agenda item when it comes up, and then we will call you in the order you've signed in, and then we'll go from there. So it'll be that way. The idea here is I want to make sure that the board has a chance to ask any questions they may have, and that way we can have a two-way conversation if needed. So we will do that when that agenda item comes up. Outside of that, we don't have any other persons signed up for public comment. We're going to move on to item number 6, discussion and action on the consent agenda, approval of minutes for the January 8th, 2025 regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
A motion by John.
Second.
Second by Ed Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then B, approval of the 2025 January 2025 disbursements. Do we have any discussions or questions about those disbursements? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the January 2025 disbursements?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion approved by Susie. Need a second?
Second.
Second by John Cudd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then receipt of the February 2025 litigation report. Have any questions about the 2025 litigation report? Okay, hearing none, need a motion to pass? Litigation report.
I do have a question, Kevin.
Sure.
I guess this is for our lawyers. Do you guys do all the representation here, or do we hire outside lawyers also?
No, this is all in-house.
Okay.
Yes,
all
sir.
right. That was it.
All right, thank you. So I need a motion to, just to acknowledge the receipt of the February 2025 litigation report.
Motion.
Motion by John.
Second.
Second by Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving along. Item number 7. We will go to the Terry for the Taxpayer Liaison's Officers Report.
Good morning. Okay, January was an interesting month. There was a formal complaint filed against the ARB by Ownwell. Those not familiar, Ownwell is a property tax consulting agency who file protests for, excuse me, thousands of taxpayers, and they represent them also at hearings. This has been an issue with this particular agency since July, at any rate. Just a little background, there were 150 protests that were filed, but the agency did not file the proper documentation in order for those protests to be heard, and so they were not heard by the ARB. The agency insisted that they did file the documents. Multiple people looked multiple times for these documents, and the ARB, they're just not there. So they had asked to be rescheduled, and Mr. Tiller had denied that. But then they filed that formal complaint, and the agent that filed it had stated, he referenced code 41.47, and the name of that code, if I'm not mistaken, is determination of protest. That code applies to protests that were heard and determinations of value made, or they were heard and dismissed. These were never heard because they didn't have the proper documentation. So this particular code did not apply to this situation. So I randomly looked at those 150 cases just to make sure that, just to double check and make sure those documents weren't there. I spoke with Chrissy. I talked to Amanda, who was kind of handling the Ownwell situation. I talked to Mr. Tiller. And, but again, this code did not apply to that situation. So taking all that into consideration, I dismissed the complaint. I included my response to the agent regarding that dismissal of the complaint, and that Mr. Tiller denied the request for reschedule. So that was taken care of. That was in a matter of an afternoon done, because it was pretty easy to take care of. I have not heard back from them about this situation. They have, however, filed different types of protests. They have filed motions to correct, which will allow these 150 property owners to have a hearing. It's just a different kind of hearing. But at any rate, so that was, he filed it and I resolved it, and I'm sure they're not happy, but the code didn't apply to that situation, so that was done. Are there any questions about that? There's a whole bunch of other information that would take a while to explain to everybody, but just as far as what kind of hearings they are, but no, everybody's good with that? Okay, that's good. Also, Heidi Cluck has resigned. She apparently has a better opportunity with her employer for more hours and more financial benefit, so she chose to resign. And ARB held their workshop on January 23rd. All the new members were sworn in, the officers were sworn in, and they had hearings yesterday and again today. And we don't know who's responsible for those new panel rooms upstairs, but the ARB says thanks. That was, yeah, I was like, okay, who built those? I don't know who it was, but everybody was very excited when they walked in and saw those, so yay.
Good deal.
Okay, no questions?
Any
Okay.
questions?
All right, thank
And
you.
then I think you've got the next item too, adding on to the discussion, you already had a discussion action regarding order rescinding appointment of appraisal review board auxiliary member. I'm assuming, is that Heidi Clark?
Terry.
Oh, Terry?
Terry.
Oh, Emma, okay. Item number 8?
Oh, you want me
Yes.
Yes, we are, discussion to move, or action regarding order to rescind the appointment for Ms. Heidi Cluck. And right now, I guess at this time, there's no vacancy to be filled.
Mr. Tiller and I talked, well, I told him that she had notified me that she was resigning, and at this point, he doesn't think it's necessary to fill that vacancy. He feels they're okay with the 22 members that they will have. But also, there are no more applicants, so we would have to spend the money to advertise, et cetera, but that's not really worth it for just one position.
But the ARB chair doesn't believe that we need to fill that position?
Not at
All
this
right,
time.
so, all right, well, very good. Do I need to read all this?
What's that?
Do I need to read all this?
No,
Okay, all right. All right, so I need a motion to pass the order rescinding the appointment of appraisal review board member Heidi Cluck.
So moved.
Motion made by Caitlin. Shoot. Need a second?
Second.
Second by John Cudd. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 9. Discussion and or action related to the 2025 appraisal notices pursuant to 2519 of the Texas Property Tax Code.
Kevin, that's for us to mail out reappraisal notices,
Okay.
coming out first week of April, hopefully. We'll get that done. So we need action on that.
Okay. And then just for the board's general knowledge, it's been the practice of the appraisal district to mail notices regardless of what to all property owners, regardless of what the value change requires. The law, I believe, requires the notices to be sent if there is $1,000 or more difference in value. Is that correct, Ronnie?
Yes.
But but quite some time back, and to be more transparent with the taxpayers, the board's made the decision to send notices regardless of whether there's a change up or down in the values. And so that's been the practice, and I think that's a great practice. And,
I have a question. This is before I was elected here, when I came to protest my taxes, and I'm not looking for anything for my property, I don't care about that. The gentleman said, well, it's gonna go up 10% every year. And I looked on his wall, and there was where he'd been to college, the courses, all that stuff. Is this gonna be like just a given thing, Ronnie, that it's 10% every year? Because when I asked him, I said, why, he didn't have an answer. And it seemed really, really inappropriate for the guy that's telling me what my property's worth not to be able to tell me why. Everybody's property is gonna go up 10% every year with
Normally-
inflation at 2.8%.
Right. Normally, he might have been referring to your homestead. If there's an increase in property value of, let's say, 30, 40%, it's capped at 10% increase. It'll be relooked at for the following year to see if it still will continue to capture that additional 10%. If the market is stable and there hasn't been any increases, then of course, it might not go up to 10%. But it's capped at 10% every year on homesteaded
No,
properties.
I realize
That's
that.
what it
In
is.
10 years, you double the value of the property like that.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, that's not
it's
an
probably
agenda
not germane to
item.
the agenda item, but we can.
Right, it's not
Okay,
really
then let's put
related.
it on the
As well,
agenda.
yeah.
And while we're putting stuff on the agenda, I'd like a 3-year study of Nueces County being split up into 3 sections and just do a third a year. That way 2/3 don't get hammered every year.
So we do have an agenda at the end of the meeting where
Okay.
you can
All right.
identify what you want on the next agenda,
Okay.
so we can save it for then.
All right.
Okay.
Just for the record, I did that at one of the meetings and it wasn't on the agenda in the next meeting. Okay,
Okay, well,
so,
we can make sure that happens.
okay.
Let's see here, so going back to the appraisal, does anybody have questions about the notices of appraised value that are gonna be going out in April? Anybody from the board, any questions? All right, so I need a motion to approve the
So moved.
notices being sent.
Susie.
Susie made the motion, need a second?
Second.
Second by Ed Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item number 10. Discussion and or action to approve subscription agreement with Solid Border Network Security pursuant to DIR cooperative contract. Authorize the chief appraiser to execute the contract. And Neil, I believe this will be your item to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a contract we renew with them every year. This year I was able to negotiate with them so there's no increase in price. But this manages our server backups, email security, spam, firewall, all those kinds of different security measures that we keep through this one vendor.
And this item is through the DIR, so it does not require.
It is, it's through the Texas DIR.
Okay.
So, Kevin,
Yes.
I'm not sure if, so it's an item to approve the subscription and then also to execute the contract, but do we have the contract for the board?
It's a state contract. There was information from the DR sent over to admin yesterday by my assistant. So that's all we have.
Okay.
This is just a renewal. This is something that's been going on for years that we've had this subscription with
It's a
them.
renewal with no modifications?
Correct.
Okay.
So the board can bring it back at the next meeting if they want to take a look at that contract and approve it then, or y'all can do it.
I'll leave that up to the board.
What's the urgency? I mean, if we look at it next month, is it gonna?
Our subscription with them actually ends in March, but with my negotiation with them, we were able to keep the pricing the same if we agreed and continue service. We have to meet it by February 28th. Otherwise, it will jump up about $15,000. That's why I jumped on this a little early instead of waiting till, they normally give me a reminder in March.
If we go ahead and approve now and don't look at the contract, is there anything you can tell us about the contract that we think would be critical for us to consider if we just do it now instead of next month?
No, there's nothing critical in it. We've never had an issue with them. In fact, we had a device go out 1 year, and we're part of the service is called an instant replacement. And overnight, we had the new device ready to go, and we were back up and running. Nobody even knew inside the building that we were down. So part of this is a cloud subscription, so that service doesn't go down. The service that we're getting now that's an on-site device is strictly for backup. But this handles all of our email traffic, email archiving, so it's just a SaaS service, really a cloud service for the most part.
Does this also handle the web page when we log on to check the status of our appraisal value?
No, that is handled through our third-party CAMA. Our CAMA provider right now has BIS as their web page management and the e-file portal. So that's separate than this, unfortunately.
So this is some pretty powerful software and hardware.
It's powerful. It has saved us quite a bit. It catches a lot. So knock on faux wood that it keeps doing that. But yes, it's a very powerful product. In the 14 years I've been here, we've only had one significant crash, and that was actually due to a hardware failure. But as far as all the emails coming in, I have 3 levels of protection I've put in place, and it catches a lot on a daily basis. I go through the reports every day.
So the board can always approve the purchase and then bring the contract back later. That way he'd be able to move forward with the purchase and getting everything in place.
I'd like
But
to
again,
make,
however y'all want to do it.
I'd like to make a motion for that, to move forward and to save money. That way we can save $15,000.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I got a motion by Susie and a second by John Cudd to approve the contract and bring it back for review by this board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, and just for clarification, I'm sorry, was your motion to approve the contract or to approve the purchase?
Well, are we required to approve the contract before we do the purchase? Because if not,
That's
Or we
prob-
were
I mean,
reviewing-
not necessarily,
okay.
right.
Well-
But I think the way that I heard it was to approve the contract, and everybody agreed to that, so just clarifying.
If
Right.
everyone agreed to it.
And I guess just for clarification a little bit, we haven't had an opportunity to review anything, nothing was forwarded to us, but I just know in our experience with DIR, a lot of the DIR purchases are just done through a purchase order and not necessarily, so when you issue your purchase order referencing the DIR, it automatically incorporates all those terms and conditions. Sometimes there could be a separate contract. I don't know for a fact that there is one in this case. So it may just be approving your purchase order through the DIR contract.
Mhm.
And if we discover there is a separate contract, we can bring that back.
Mhm.
And the DIR is a state
It's a state, the DIR is a state cooperative purchasing group. So basically, they're the ones that go do all the competitive bidding, all the negotiating for you. You go on, you find that they have the service and the vendor you want, and so then you make your purchase through them. And so all the terms are going to be a little bit different depending on, obviously, the product and the vendor, but a lot of your DIR contracts is just going to be done through a purchase order referencing that DIR contract. So if y'all are going to go ahead and move forward with the purchase through the DIR contract, we can do that. And if we discover there's a separate agreement, we can bring that back for ratification.
Which the DIR contract is referenced on the bottom of the purchase order here on the book.
Any questions? Does that answer your question? Okay, very good, thank you. All right, moving along to item number 11. Irma, discussion or action related to the approval of the Appraisal District's fourth quarter 2024 investment report.
So I'm going to present the fourth quarter investment report. Our earned was 4.01%, which was a lot lower than what we came with last quarter, versus our benchmark, which was supposed to be 4.40%. That's how, right now our rates are kind of going down, so it's not really that great for investing. Other than that, we collateralized this much per the bank, and then we are investing, our funds totaled $65,000 to text pool. So that's our investment for the fourth quarter. It's not very, the interest rates are low.
Well, we're in a dropping interest rate environment, so it is what it is, but it's better than the .001 we were getting maybe several years back, which was, something I suppose is better than nothing. But do we
Motion.
okay, so I need a
Motion?
motion to approve the,
Yes.
the investment report.
I move we approve it.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, second by, approval by Ed and second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Okay, and then discussion and or action to adopt the district's investment policy. And this is just a review. of
Yeah,
something
it's
we
just
have to do
an
on an annual
annual
basis.
adoption of the investment policy. I reviewed the investment policy for Chapter 2256 of the Texas Government Code, Public Funds Investment Act. Nothing has changed. The only thing that we did update was Appendix C for Kevin, the chairman, to sign. Other than that, everything else remains the same on our policy per the code.
Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the investment policy? We're pretty limited on what we can do. Everything's pretty heavily regulated
Yeah.
on what we can and can't invest in, so. Any questions or concerns about the investment policy? Okay. I need a motion to accept the investment policy as presented.
Motion accept.
Motion by Caitlin, I need a second
Second.
by James McGill. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, and moving on to discussion and or action to adopt Board of Directors policy manual. This is going to be a standing, kind of ongoing process that we're going to do. My intention is to have this item on every meeting's agenda, at least for the next 5 to 6 meetings, so we can build on this policy. There's some basic things that we have to have that are currently, I don't know if they're in place or there's some, I think Melissa has some explanations and things that we have to be doing. But also secondarily, I want a succession plan, so that way, when if I'm gone or the vice chair is gone, I want to make sure that these meetings continue to happen and board decisions continue to happen as long as we have a quorum in place. And so, part of the addition to that program, I want to make sure we still have that, so we're not holding this district back a whole month just waiting, or when other people can't be here for those meetings, so, to keep everything consistent for our scheduling purposes and so forth. So that's gonna be added, but I'll, turn it over to Melissa, I guess, to discuss the, policy that the base we're gonna start with, and we'll be able to add to it as we move along in the coming months as people come up with any items or concerns that they want to add to the policy.
Yes, sir. So the board policies that you all have in front of you, those are the statutorily required ones, and so we wanted to make sure to get those in the policy. Like Kevin says, we can certainly add to it. This is a draft for your consideration. And so the required ones under statute are public access to the meetings, functions of the board, public complaint procedures, and ARB temporary replacement appointments. And again, those are all found in statute and are required. So we can certainly build upon these board policies with your input. And as Kevin indicated, we'll have an item at each meeting. That way we can be able to discuss it as issues come up. You know, we can amend the policies and then continue to bring it back until we get a final policy that the board will want to approve.
And my intention is to try to have this as a living document, so that way we can, as a group, we can develop this document and, you know, hopefully just better serve the community that we're here elected, appointed to serve, so. So, with that, what I do want to add, I'm not sure how we officially word this, but I do want the secession plan added to this document.
Okay.
We discussed that, I discussed that earlier with both of you, and so you guys know, in my absence, obviously, we're gonna follow Robert's Rules of Orders, essentially, to make sure that these meetings continue to happen. So if I'm absent and the vice chair is absent, then it would be the secretary. If all three of us are absent, there's still a quorum, then those members present, the senior person that is present would be acting as the board chair at that point, and the meeting will continue. And if we have that many people gone, then guess what? We don't have a quorum, and there's no meeting to be had. We can't have one, so that's the secession plan that I'm proposing to be added. And is there any comments or any concerns or board members about that? So I need a motion to approve
Motion to
the addition.
To approve with the addition.
Motion to approve the addition. I have a motion by John Cudd. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Susie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. And again, if you guys think of things we need to add to this as we go along, like, this will be a standing item in our agenda for the foreseeable future. So we'll have that opportunity to bring that up each meeting. All right, designation and/or action to designate different meeting day for board of directors if needed. Is the second Wednesday of each month working for the board members that are present? And do we have anybody online?
No.
Is this date working for everybody? Do we need to put a different date in? I guess the people we need really need to be asking the ones who aren't here.
But they've been here in the past, and
Yes.
so.
Yeah. See, the other reason that we were discussing, Kevin and I, is because on Wednesdays, Commissioners Court has their meetings. On Tuesdays, City Council has its meetings. Thursday would be a day where you can attend here and not be concerned about having to make an appearance at City Council or Commissioners Court. A couple of Wednesdays ago, I think, last Wednesday we were there at Commissioners Court, which is okay. If we had had a board meeting, I would have had to reschedule the meeting with Commissioners Court. On the other hand, Kevin also makes a lot of the Commissioners Court meetings on Wednesdays. That's his
I
way.
also miss a lot of them.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I know.
of this meeting.
And part of the discussion that we've had is if everything's okay on Wednesday, then so be it. But if not, Thursday would probably be your day if you wanted to make a change. Instead of Wednesdays, change it to Thursdays.
That actually makes sense, especially people who want to attend these meetings.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with Thursdays, whatever you guys want to do.
Would it be the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, we do the same time.
Mhm.
So would Thursday work for you guys,
Mm-hmm.
everybody here?
Yes.
When we do this, before we make any official changes, could.
Contact the others?
could-
Yes.
I don't know how the appropriate way would be to contact those who are absent, but could we have either our attorneys do that or?
Yeah, I mean, we can contact them, but if y'all's already, we would need to table this, if y'all are gonna.
Let's table it until we contact them, because I really want to make sure we have everybody's input on this,
We'll bring it back next month.
because, some people were elected, some people were appointed, and, they've made these appointments based on those dates, so I just want to make sure that we're not blackballing anybody or putting a major conflict in anybody else's schedule.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. So what we'll do is, we won't take any action on this for the time being, and then we'll bring this item back and,
You wanna table it?
and we'll
Yes.
table it to March.
Okay, a motion.
I need a motion to table.
Move to table.
Motion by Ed,
Second.
second by John. All in favor?
All right.
Motion passes. Okay. And then we'll bring this item back next month, and then we'll discussion. Okay.
Okay.
And let's see here. Item number 15, discussion and action to select a computer-assisted mass appraisal CAMA software vendor pursuant to the CAMA vendor request for proposal. We have some public comment on this item, and I think what we'll do is we'll lead off with the public comment, and we'll go in the order that has been signed in. And so with that, you're gonna get more than 3 minutes, so I wanna be able to have some back and forth, but let's limit it to at least 5 minutes, and then if we need, and that's not including any questions from the board.
Okay.
Okay? All right. And then so I'm gonna call Shannon Davis.
Yep. I'm Shannon Davis. I'm Vice President, Executive Vice President for GSA. I handle basically everything with exception of our developers. And I appreciate the opportunity for us to present our software, and there was a lot of investment both from the staff and the committee, so we appreciate all the time that you guys invested. A little bit about our software. It is a modern cloud-based web application stack, with a complete software as a service subscription. On this product, we are currently hosting 55 clients across 5 different states. One of the things fundamentally that is different about our CAMA that you see from a lot of the different CAMA companies in the market is they'll have hard-coded versions of the CAMA product for each individual state. Ours is one code base. It's a framework that we built different settings and modes on top of. And what I mean by that is things like capping and ceilings and exemptions. All those things are completely flexible in the system and just require an update to a setting to be compliant. So when you all had Circuit Breaker, which was kind of a mess, I know you guys were on Harris when Circuit Breaker happened, but it took quite a long time and you dealt with a lot of missing deadlines. For us, it was simply changing a setting in the back end of the system because we already handled double capping in other states. That framework itself gives a lot of flexibility both state to state, but then also within different CADs within a state. Because I think you guys know in talking to a lot of your colleagues, everybody does things different. Nobody uses their CAMA system the same way. We can, for example, we can have unlimited numbers of valuation techniques on a property. So if you had a commercial property that was maybe split, like a double use, it had a homestead on it, but then also had a marina, for example, down here, you could do it on one parcel. You could do the cost for and homestead for the house, do an income approach for that marina, have it all on one parcel, but then you could also have, for example, a equity and then also a comp sales, but have all of those different methods live in the system and then choose whichever one you want to go to the roll with. So that infrastructure gives you a ton of flexibility. We've been providing CAMA solutions since 1996, and we've been providing CAMA solutions here in Texas since 2002. In fact, our old CAMA product is still in use at Harris CAD today. They're still a client of ours, and we've developed some other products for them. For example, we developed a custom homestead app for them, where their taxpayers can take a picture of their driver's license front and back, and upload it, and if that matches the information in their CAMA system, it automatically grants that homestead with no human intervention. So we've focused on developing a lot of unique tools for them that help increase their efficiency, but then also improve the taxpayer experience. When they had the hurricane come through, we edited that application so that all their taxpayers could report their hurricane damage through that app as well and not have to come into the office. We handle counties, from 1,800 parcels to 2 million parcels. For example, like with Harris, this particular build is from 1,800 to about 550,000 parcels in use and live in different districts. One of the things that we believe that is unique to us is we have an all-inclusive model for software as a service. So all of our modules, all of our future development comes with that one subscription price. So it avoids any, if we develop stuff in the future, you will automatically have access to it. But it avoids any unexpected costs. But one of the other unexpected costs is in the client services. So that subscription gives you an unlimited number of tickets and contact to our client services department, which very often is there'll be a limit in the contract, like you get 7 tickets, then everything beyond that is time and materials. So we have some counties that we service, some of the smaller ones, that don't have any IT support. So we do everything for them that an IT department normally would. But if you have an IT department that wants to have access, that's used to having access, you can have completely unfettered access to the database and the database model. We have a very transparent belief in how we provide our solutions to our customers. With a simple control click on any field, you can see what the field name is, what table it sits in. You can see an audit trail for that particular field and know who changed that specific field, when they changed it, and in that audit trail. So it gives you a lot of control and visibility to what's going on in your data. Being able to do that allows you to do things like, for example, if you got a really weird public request, you could set your own query to go find that data in the public request. You can do mass updates to your land and your building schedules. But one of the other unique things that we allow is in the front end of it, we've got a role processing app. And your users, let's say, for example, you get a legislative change and they want to do a bunch of what-if scenarios to see how that impacts your values. Your users can create their own database and do all of those what-if scenarios. You could have a Neil database. You could have a Letitia database in the system that they can lock down that nobody else can even touch. Other than that, I think a lot of the stuff that we're developing now is really focused on improving the office efficiency. We're investing a lot of money in some of the emerging technologies like AI and automated workflow and that type of thing. And so we do have an AI deeds product. There's some similar ones that are out in the market. There's a small charge for that one just because we have a third-party fee hitting a different data model in order to validate that data, but that's all we charge for, so it's a fraction of what the competing products are. But we're looking at how to take those same concepts and apply it across your organization. Like anything you get in your office in writing, there's no reason why eventually you wouldn't be able to scan it and pull that data off and then completely streamline those processes. So I think that's our focus. That's why we think we would be a great solution for you all. You're a good sized CAD. So a lot of where you get weighed down is in those administrative tasks.
All right, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then, Wendy signed in, but she does not wish to address the board. Danielle Runco? Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Morning,
coming.
everyone.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Good morning, Chair, Chief, Board, and staff and taxpayers. I'm Danny with True Prodigy. I'm co-founder of True Prodigy. With me is Aussie back there, also co-founder. True Prodigy. We are located in North Texas, our office. We are a Texas-based company. We only focus on CAMA solutions for Texas clients. Our first client was Travis, and then Webb, Cameron, Hidalgo just went live. Hidalgo called me in November and said, hey, we're done. So within 2 months, they were live in our system. And now Jim Wells as well just went live next to you. So yeah, we have a passion for appraisal, and that's what we do. Established in 2017, all 100% cloud solution. Our system is not hard-coded. Any changes that you need to do, any legislation changes that happen, and these are happening every day pretty much, we don't charge our districts for that. We know you already set your budgets, so we decided to not charge on that, just help you. And we attend to every legislation meeting as well, just to be educated, to see what's going on. We attend, we get back, and we get back to work and get ready for that. We have 22 clients, actually 22 as of 2 weeks ago, 24. We have 18 live clients in Texas, and some of those, as mentioned, are Denton, Montgomery, Cameron, Hidalgo, and Tarrant. We just acquired Tarrant, which is Fort Worth. over a million parcels there. So you ask, why True Prodigy? At our core, we focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's CAMA, a CAMA solution. It's a cloud. We're the first to architecture a cloud solution, highly stable and available, ready to go. You don't need to install anything in your system. You simply get a username, password, and you're in the system anywhere remotely. Like Montgomery, when the storm happened, and some of our clients, eyes all over the state, they can work remotely from anywhere. We've proven to be the fastest, and we can do conversions in 2 to 3 months very quickly. Our comprehensive one-stop solution, we provide more than just a CAMA. Our software is an all-one solution, including public website, forms, agent portals, tax transparency, tax and unit portal, and we provide those. All the websites and those solutions, third party, goes away with us. We handle everything. So there's nothing that is breaking, disconnecting. We take responsibility of everything, so everything is inclusive. A Harris Cat, that's Houston, we do their tax transparency website for about 4 years, and also some other clients. So we have more clients, not CAMA, but we have those clients trust us with our solutions. This is not just about software. It's about improving the experience for the taxpayer. I think that's key. I mean, we provide a service here. I say we because I'm a taxpayer as well, and the service from the appraisal districts, that's what it's going to improve your performance, your system, how you work with them. With 22 Texas clients and 18 live, we are more than just a business. We are a family committed. We truly set apart. What truly sets us apart as a community and service, it's what we do because we have passion for it. We run this company like a family, and the mindset drives everything we do. Success or failure is shared, and and that means that we don't operate as a typical 8 to 5 schedule. We work 24/7. If a client needs us, Rockwell the other day on a Saturday, they needed us. We got on the computers and got to work, and we were able to help them. And lastly, in conclusion, we understand that you have several options to consider. However, we firmly believe that our solution is the best for your needs. Our system is truly turnkey, designed to seamlessly integrate and enhance your current operations. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and for everything.
Thank you very much.
Requested.
We appreciate you coming.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Does anybody from the board have any questions? Okay. So next, Letty?
Give you just some of my notes.
Thank you.
Kevin, when we go into executive session, would it be all right if Neil and Ronnie, I got a couple of questions for them? They stayed just briefly?
We'd only go into executive if there was a legal question.
Okay. All right. Then I have questions for the CAMA thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to take a look at this first and then ask questions? Or do you wanna,
I can.
Or do you want to do it?
You know what? I'd be honest with you, no.
Okay.
I'd rather hear from the guy that's going to use this stuff and have to deal with it. I'd rather hear Neil's opinion on what he thinks.
Okay. Let me let Letty give the presentation.
All right.
And then,
Okay.
then we can open it up to the board of
All right,
questions.
great.
And we'll have just see if there are questions or answers.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so first, I kind of want to
So hang
explain. Yeah.
So hang tight.
Yeah.
Okay, so first, I want to explain what a CAMA system is. So our CAMA is a computer-assisted mass appraisal system. So it's known as an automated system that maintains property data, valuing property, notifying owners, ensuring tax equity through uniform evaluation. So our CAMA maintains and utilizes numerous volumes of property information, such as property characteristics, which is your cost, your depreciation, your ownership, your exemptions, all data. So your system
this system incorporates everything the appraisal district does. So this is really, our system is really the backbone of the appraisal district. Okay, so the district did receive 4 responses to the RFP for this camera system, and we thoroughly evaluated our proposal. Okay, so that was the committee. So the board assigned a committee to go through those, and we'll go through the committee in just a minute. So we did reach a recommendation after carefully analyzing our responses and assessing their alignment with our technical, operational, and financial requirements. This process did involve very detailed review of each of the proposals. This was a bear. I mean, I don't know if y'all got a chance to review the RFP. There was thousands of questions on there, over 1,000 questions. And so we did a comparison, a side-by-side comparison of the responses from the RFP, from the questions, and the requirements. So we factored critical elements and the ability to meet the district's needs. Some of those elements were the software design, the implementation, the system capabilities, the mass appraisal capabilities, the system operational capabilities, the cost, experience with Texas CADs, experience with the property tax code, the laws, training, customer service, the learning curve. We took all these, critical elements, and we factored those. So the district appraisers and directors did have an opportunity to attend demos for all vendors, all 4 of them. So we have a lot of insight to what product they were giving us. The district also contacted several other appraisal districts. The references, we made sure to, everything that was on RFP, we analyzed it, checked it, reviewed the references. The committee took this task extremely serious regarding what best fits the current and future needs of the appraisal district. So our committee, our committee had different perspectives. We had, so each one brought their own perspective to the table. So we had Neil Landine, he's our IT. So his expertise would be in the technical aspects, the system operational capabilities, the system functionalities, the GIS and mapping system. Irma Vera was the director of administration, so her expertise were in the financial analysis, the budgeting, the forecasting, the administrative operations, the organizational transformation, okay? And then Ronnie, the chief, myself, and Chris Barnett, our market analysis manager, we have the bulk of what the appraisal district does. We have to look at the operational perspective, the organizational efficiency, the real property evaluations, the commercial evaluations, the business property evaluations, the land evaluations, the market analysis, the very important one, the ARB capabilities, the managerial perspective, the records and exemptions, the clerical data entry, the appraiser assignments. I forgot the online portals where, we're trying to get, the majority of taxpayer able to do everything online, even agents. So I think each one of these committee members brought a different perspective to what the appraisal district needs. Sometimes we agreed, sometimes we didn't, but we all, at the end, came to a consensus. The next, okay, so now I'd like to go over the scoring. How did we score these proposals? So there were sections of the proposals. So the first page you'll see on your little handout here is the general software design. That was one section, and that had over 100 questions. Then you have the operational capabilities that had over 500 questions. The mass appraisal capabilities that had over 400 questions, and then the performance guidelines. So this is how each one responded. There was also a section where if they didn't have it now, or if it wasn't included in the price, what would the price be to modify that feature? So that was included in here. If they were able to modify it, and us as a committee decided, okay, that would be a great feature, those were also taken into account. So you'll see this section here equals the 60%, the 60 points. So you'll see that, GSA and Prodigy were pretty close, Tyler and Catalyst, not so close. So those are the two, with True Prodigy having more points there. The next section I'd like to talk about is the contributor scoring. Now this, I asked that none of the costs be verbalized due to a negotiation. We don't want, one person to get a hold of what like the other one does. So we ask that be confidential and not be verbalized. So here you'll see what, okay, so if you'll see the top line where you'll see feature costs, that's the one time, that is the implementation of the CAMA, and then you'll see the annual price, and that would be what the recurring price would be every year. And then the total first year is the total altogether. Then the next set of questions here are the section where we scored also. So like the proposed solution, and when we say the proposed solution, is like the CAMA system that they were proposing to us. So had it been implemented in appraisal districts with 200,000 or more parcels in Texas. So there was only one CAMA system that had 3 CADs, and these CADs were as of the day of proposal. I know some of them have come on board since, on 2 of the CAMAs, they had more CADs come on board since the proposal, but we used the CADs as of the proposal date. So you'll see some on both of them that they'll be less than they do have now. So True Prodigy had the most points there, and then the next section was use the proposed solution to finish 3 or more cycles. True Prodigy had 6 CADs, so they got full points. GSA only had 1 CAD with 2 cycles, so they did not meet that requirement. Okay, the next section doesn't have any points. This is just a reference, like existing products used in Texas. So that's as of the proposed date. So True Prodigy had 13, and GSA had 1. And then I added, just for reference, total company CAMAs. GSA had the most there because they were in 6 different states, and True Prodigy had 13 as of the proposed date. And then you'll have a first year implementation, and then you'll have with a cost without the implementation, and then we also did a 5-year cost just to forecast that for y'all. And so total, so if you go to the last page, where it's, you know, you can see it, everything all together. You can see the total percentages at the end, and that True Prodigy had scored the highest. So,
Letty, I've got a question on that.
sure.
So, in talking to some other districts, I know that True Prodigy, it's my understanding that they charge by the module.
They charge by, okay.
Is that the case?
So whatever the pricing was, what, I included everything. What,
All modules?
right.
This
Everything
includes all modules.
that we selected as a committee to receive, we added it to the price. Now, during, you know, if the recommendation, if y'all decide to give us, you know, to approve the recommendation, that's when it comes into negotiation. Do we need this module? That the price may change, you know, it may be lower. There are some modules in there that, that we felt that we didn't need. I wanna say one of them was something to do with the tax office,
Okay.
you know, like if we had,
Like a collection module or something
yeah,
like that,
so
yeah.
that module,
Yeah, yeah.
we, as appraisal district, because we do not do collections,
Right.
we wouldn't need. But the proposal was that amount, so we included, you know, the whole amount. Some modules we will not need, and that would be part of negotiating on the price.
Okay. Wait,
Who do we currently use?
Right now, we use Harris Government, which is PAX. We have been with them since 2010, yeah.
But they didn't bid,
Mm-mm.
so we're going to have to do a conversion.
Yes, the whole conversion,
Are you ready for that?
yes. We're gonna be
We're
ready.
not gonna-
That's been recorded.
Somebody do it.
You know, and, you know, with the conversions, you know, that's, while checking the references, you know, that was a big question that we were concerned about. Had you done a conversion from Harris Governor or from PAX, that experience of having that conversion, already knowing how to do that, is a big plus, you know. If you had a CAMA that hadn't done up to that point a conversion from PAX, well, there's gonna be a bigger learning curve on that, you know. So, GSA, they were coming from, is it Legacy? Like, y'all were converting from Legacy?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
When y'all did your conversion with Ector, they had Legacy?
They had a company called Mars.
Oh, Mars, but,
Mars, yeah. It was Johnson. Yeah.
okay. They had a different, I remember Legacy for some reason. Do you remember? I have it in my thing. Okay, so, and where the True Prodigy, when we asked, you know, especially the newly CADs that had just converted, they were coming from PAX, you know, how did that conversion work? You know, was there a lot of hiccups? You know, with every conversion, there's gonna be some kind of hiccups. But, you know, as they do more, they're less likely, you know, they kind of weed that out.
Okay, so
I
I've
will
seen
say-
conversions fail,
Yeah,
and it's not a happy moment.
no.
So,
So-
who has converted from the software that we're currently using?
True Prodigy.
Only one?
They've had several conversions.
But
from-
they're the only ones?
Yes. GSA has not had a conversion from PAX or Harris Governor.
We do have one almost complete though, and we hired the Harris employee that worked there for 12 years and knows the data model.
So, I'm not sure how many conversions they had. I can ask. I mean, how many conversions did y'all have from PAX?
Over 12.
Okay, so about 12. And that could be, you know, there's a lot of reasons for that. True Prodigy is substantial, just Texas, you know, they're Texas-based. Where GSA, they're coming into Texas, so they're new to Texas. They have several coming on board. But our recommendation would be that we go with True Prodigy.
I think, John, you've had some questions.
I'd like to know what Neil thinks about it. And then I want to know
Wait,
what Ronnie
stand by,
thinks about
stand
it.
by just a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if you wanted to bring up the lawsuit issue at what point?
Yeah, let's bring that up. Do you want, can I have you discuss it? So-
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, so there is something that I do want the board to be aware of, and then I'm going to turn this over to Melissa to discuss.
So it did come to the district's attention, and just full disclosure to the board, that there is a currently pending federal lawsuit against True Prodigy. It's Harris Govern versus True Prodigy, and that's currently pending in the Eastern Division in federal court. It was filed back in September of '22. It's still pending. As of September 2024, the court stayed the case, which means they kind of pumped the brakes on it, in order to rule on some motions to dismiss that have been filed by the defendants. I just want to talk briefly about the allegations and the causes of actions and things like that. So basically, the plaintiffs are claiming that True Prodigy unlawfully accessed PACs and misappropriated trade secrets in order to gain a head start in developing a competing product. And so some of the causes of action are copyright infringement. There's a state claim, Texas Uniform Trade Secrets Act. The defendants have responded, which is True Prodigy. They responded, they filed motions to dismiss, saying that you don't have enough facts to support your claim. In federal court, you can get thrown out if you don't have the facts to support your claim. And so one of the issues is the source code that the plaintiffs are saying was infringed upon. At this time, the court hasn't ruled on the defendant's motion to dismiss. If they do rule, they dismiss it and the case goes away. In all fairness, we did look at GSA to see if they had lawsuits, and we couldn't find any. We looked in both the federal court system and the state system, but just the Texas system. We don't have access to all of the other states unless it's in federal court. And so we just wanted to let you know. I don't know if True Prodigy wants to, respond as far as the lawsuit is concerned, but we did want the board to be aware that that's out there. I'm sorry.
Just to take that into consideration. However, as with any of these companies, on our end, we would probably be looking to make sure there's something in the contract that protects us against any sort of copyright infringement, or if it were to ever come up later, because sometimes that does come up with all software companies. And so we would want to look to have something in the agreement, as we have in other agreements that we do have now, that indicate that if there is any sort of copyright infringement, that we would be looking to the vendor who we have the contract with to resolve that and make us whole.
And so even though there isn't any litigation right now against another vendor, does it mean there can't be in the future? And then, as you all know, it takes a long time to resolve these lawsuits, right? It can be appealed, and but we do have a mechanism in the contract, and like Belinda said, that's something we would put in every contract where there's software and that there's any sort of intellectual property involved, so that the district is protected.
And there was also, in reading the RFP, the RFP, RFPs, RFQs, same difference. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, but RF something or other. There is a certification in that RFP process about this as well. I think it's on page 10, 56. So in that RFP process, but anything else you want to add, or did in all fairness, do you want to respond or have any comments about this? Go ahead and come up to the mic.
Good morning.
And do be aware that this is an open meeting, so just so you know, this is an open meeting, so just
Open meeting.
It's public. It's all public. So and because you're talking about a potential lawsuit, I just want to make sure you know that it'll be out there. So
Right. Thank you. So as instructed by our attorney and by Osvaldo Morales, the CEO, I've been instructed to not comment on ongoing legal matter, but you can definitely reach out to him. I'm Ozzy Morales, the third, the son, and yes, yeah, it is true that we do have a lawsuit on our hands. You had mentioned about contract protections. That is in the contract, that it protects a district, and that's in the contract as well. But like I said before, I can't really comment on that. I just know that 75% of the claims have been dismissed, and that's as much as I can comment. But you can definitely reach out to Osvaldo Morales, CEO, and he can give you more information.
Okay. And I appreciate that, and I suspected that would be the case, but I just want to make sure you had an opportunity.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other, John, I think you had some questions that you wanted.
I'm gonna try it again.
All right. You got the floor, John.
Neil, I'd like to hear your opinion on this since you have to ride the horse.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, because we had a committee that was assigned by the board to evaluate, and so they didn't evaluate it necessarily as individuals. The recommendation is by the committee as a whole, not as individuals, which is the purpose of the committee and the purpose of, the procurement process, to make sure that it's, everybody's opinion is taken into consideration, and as a committee, they came up with a recommendation.
Okay, I'm just asking his opinion. I'm curious of Ronnie's also.
First off, I want to make the board that know that I had never seen this before in this format. These numbers are completely different than what I had seen before. That's my first concern. I do have other concerns with this whole process. I don't think we've truly been 100% transparent. This process has been essentially run backwards. We visited CAMAs, or one CAD. At that time, I was not aware of any other CADs being contacted or vendors. Later on, I've learned that they were contacted, but I was excluded from those conversations. So any technical information that might have been asked or retrieved, I have no knowledge of that. I don't know if the questions were asked correctly. I don't know if the answers were interpreted correctly. I was given a brief summary after the calls, but again, I don't know if those answers were understood correctly by either us or them. Them being the CADs or the vendors. The process was also highlighted and given to administration from our previous Director of Administration, Elias Sissimus. He laid out a very clear, simple framework. We used the same framework for our procurement process of our aerial imagery. That was ignored. He stated as much. He wrote an email stating very upset that this was being ignored. 6 days later from that, he announced his resignation. I don't know if this was a contributing factor, but I have the email here if you'd like me to read it.
Please.
Find the right one, sorry. Okay, I think this is it. Okay. Sorry. He starts with thanking me for copying on the email, which I also did follow up with after Elias's email of the simple framework. I provided a more detailed framework, pretty much giving the same problems or same solutions to this, just throwing in a lot more details. So this was September 10th. I was originally told that some of our staff were going to visit other CADs to gain insights to their updated CAMA as part of the preliminary research determination for RSP specification. Sorry, I'm going to apologize. I'm nervous. So, bear with me. Now, CAMA companies are scheduled to perform on-site demonstrations of their technologies, and others are being delved into. Though there are some informational benefits limited to this type of research, pre-solicitation, from my job's function standpoint, this is too much procurement taking place before the procurement solicitation process. In other words, the CAMA project is becoming like interviewing selected candidates for a job vacancy that has not yet been advertised, and then designing that job description based on those candidates' qualifications or credentials. frankly, it's disheartening that I was hired for a position that is responsible for NCAD's procurement functions, and that my approach previously outlined on August 12th email and in other conversations since has been essentially disregarded, and that my concerns have been dismissed with excuses about this being researched. It is insulting, especially when I have proven 8 years to be highly inclusive and transparent with this function, and hardly a control freak. The message I keep getting is that this job is just to handle a myriad of areas I'm responsible for until someone else wants it done differently. If that's what this job has turned into, then I have no interest in wasting my career years and expertise. That at least Neil recognizes it. So,
Who wrote that email?
Elias, this was an email that he sent to myself, Ronnie, and Letty. Or I'm sorry, that's the follow-up. No, it's the same date. Yes, September 10th. And then that was September 10th. Preceding that by one day, this was when we laid out some other talks. September 9th, he sent this email out to the whole staff, announcing that he was leaving and seeking career opportunities, other career opportunities, effective 23rd, September 23rd. So I'm not saying that's the reason he left, but it kind of leans some credence to he was being ignored and he had concerns about this whole process. I have the same concerns. The demos, I was directed to set up demos with 3 of the cameras. The True Prodigy demo is specifically set up by the Assistant Chief Appraiser. Let's see, I'll go to my notes here. So the whole timeline I have here, September 6th, we visited Cameron Appraisal District to see their new True Prodigy system. September 12th through 25th is when we had the RFP the demos, not the RFP. Again, this is all before there was even discussion about the requirements that we were going to put in the RFP. And then post-demonstrations, the Assistant Chief Appraiser obtained an RFP template from another appraisal district that had already selected True Prodigy and planned to use that template for NCAD solicitation. That CAD was Tarrant, I believe. So, yeah, you can kind of see where my concern is coming for this whole process.
So if I'm understanding right, we're this far down the rabbit hole. One company got picked and we designed it around one company. Is that what we're talking about here?
That's where Elias was leaning.
Okay.
In his email. And
That's not
No.
correct.
No.
So
well,
we utilized the RFP that the only changes I think we made from the RFP at Tarrant County was our names. So we didn't design anything specific to any company at all.
And I also want to clarify because I think Elias had already left before we moved forward with the RFP in selecting that. So to that extent, I just want to clarify as far as the timeline goes, that I don't know that Elias would have had anything in his email would have been geared to the RFP specifically.
Right, it wasn't completed at the time he left.
Well, it sounds
So
like,
that's
it sounds to me though like he was talking about the concerns, especially looking at the time frames of what was going on here.
Right, my
well, not-
clarification was just specific to the RFP packet that went out.
Okay, but not to interrupt. So if I'm understanding, you said that somebody looked at True Prodigy and designed what Nueces County would need according to their product? Talk to me like I'm 5, okay?
it's my concern that is what's taking place. It doesn't pass the smell test for me. I was not included into a lot of the technical conversations that were made with the other CADs and the vendors. Really the only Majority of the conversations I had with any of the vendors were during the demos. And it's, this process has been backwards from the beginning. We should have started with, what do we want, which is an email I sent out asking each department internally. Not much motion happened on that, but I did send out an email asking each department to give me a list of things they would like to see in their CAMA. From there, it should have been more of an on-site committee, should have been created then to structure the RFP, and then actually putting out the RFP and waiting for solicitations and doing the Q&A back with the vendors, and going, and then from there having the demos and possibly meeting other CADs to see how they were happy with their product. We started at the end of this, and now it's like we're working toward the middle. It's concerning, and I don't know what the motivation is behind this. I come at this very analytical, I evaluated each CAMA from the beginning. Even the ones that at the point weren't cloud-based, I still gave them a fair shake. Went through all the minutia of every single bit of their stuff. And I wrote up a summary and a review. My assistant did as well. And I didn't disclose my review with him. I told him, here, do it completely separate from me. I want to see what you come up with. And he came up with the same conclusion. And we both chose GSA.
Okay, so it sounds like we're picking winners and losers?
Yeah.
Okay. Ed, did you have something?
I do. Neil, you're the IT manager,
Yes, sir, 14 years.
and this is software.
Yes, sir.
Who's going to manage this software?
Me,
Okay. Who's going to manage the conversion?
again, me.
So if the conversion fails or the software fails,
It's on me.
It's on me, not you. Just so you know.
But you do rely on my expertise.
I do, and I also rely on the expertise of the office and its department heads to do what we need to do here.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of the things that you're alluding to has been on the up and up. Nothing has been underhanded or anything like that. As far as Elias is concerned, Elias had been looking for another job for the last 5-6 years, including California, including the city of Corpus Christi. This job that he went to just came up for him at his own deal, not because of what was going on here. Okay?
Like I said, I didn't say if this was the sole
Well, then
reason.
that's what I'm making
But this
it
could
clear
have
to
been the
you
final
that
straw that broke the
I'm
camel's
making it
back.
clear to you that that's not why he left.
Well, I did ask the man's opinion,
Yes.
and he gave it
I
to me, and
understand.
thank you, Neil.
You're welcome, sir.
and what is our time frame here? When do we have to make this conversion?
Well, that is another concern, sir. We're getting ready to get in notice this time. Preliminary totals, delivering information to the entities, which I do that all the time, providing information for staff. And then we get into a protest time. So we're kind of behind the curve on doing a conversion right now.
When would be the best month to do the conversion?
After I finish the truth and taxation delivery to the state, the entities, which is around August.
And the current software we're using, is there an expiration date on that?
No, sir, we have an annual contract with them for service.
So what was the big main need to, if this one isn't expiring and we're out shopping, what triggered that?
We have been for several years having problems with our current CAMA provider, whether it's delivering updates to us for legislative changes late or misunderstandings of how we interpret legislation versus how they interpret it. There's just been an ongoing problem with various aspects of their software, including to the point now where they're they used to host our website directly, and now they've brought in another provider to do it third party. So they've slowly been transferring various parts of their responsibilities to third party.
Harris Governance had a ton of problems.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how the heck y'all even got the SB2 done last year, because other CADs that had that had Harris completely screwed up some major things, and even to the point, I know that the Comal County tax assessor had to rebuild everything. I don't know how y'all did it, to be honest with you. Y'all did a hell of a job getting that done, and the constant back and forth between your office and our office to make sure this happened was phenomenal.
A lot of queries and spreadsheets.
But yeah, and they had to go old school, and I don't really know how it even happened. So the system is definitely, I can tell you from my experience on the tax side, is dated. We have accounts we have to force balance when we balance the roll because they won't balance right, and so we have to go in there. Nobody likes, if there's nobody who doesn't like forced balancing more than me because it doesn't look right. And so it's not an excessive number of accounts, but there are some that for whatever reason they won't feed into the system right. So the need for this district to get new software is definitely there. The time frame, though, of what we need to do that is the conversion is ultra critical. And I know the last time you remember well, you were tax assessor. They did a conversion, and it was at a wrong time of the year, and that's basically how Rhonda came over here, and I became the tax assessor because it was it doubled up on homestead exemptions. Everything was wrong. It was a nightmare. So timing is of the utmost essence of when we do a conversion, whoever we go with, the timing is ultra critical. It's probably not going to be something that we can do right now, but it's something that we need to start moving towards because I think we're going to have to work this season on the existing PAC software because the timing's just not there. You can't be inputting data when you're in the middle of a conversion. You need to convert and then put the data in and then test it in a sandbox, which brings me to kind of to a question I've got for both the software developers. Have we been able to test or input, and you might know this answer already, have we tested that with the various software companies? Any sandbox data, has that been done?
No, we haven't had let any CAM assistant to our system to test anything.
Okay.
I mean, that would be, we just didn't do that.
Okay. Well, and that's
I don't think
understandable,
that
but it's
was
probably
done.
something you
No.
might want to do to see how it works.
Well, that's why we did visit another county
Okay.
to see what their process was
Okay.
and how that went. And,
How many counties did y'all visit?
we visited only one.
Okay.
Now, the way,
Physically.
okay, so I know you've mentioned this before, Kevin, it's like when we go to these conferences, it's good to talk to these vendors. That's how we met
Yeah.
True Prodigy and GSA.
Yeah.
And Catalyst. I mean, Catalyst was from another state. I mean, that's how, and Tyler. That's where we go and talk to these vendors and talk to see what product they have. And some even have demos, like, okay, I went to a demo with True Prodigy on just their online process, their forms. They had, I don't know, maybe about 6 or 7 demos. I was only able to attend one, because I had other classes to go to. So, when you're having so much trouble with your camera system now, and then you go to a conference and you see like, oh my gosh, we need this. This could be so much better. I mean, the bulk of it our appraisers use. You need something that is compatible and efficient for the appraisers. I mean, just the demos that they had, and so okay, that piqued our our interest. This is so much better. This could be beneficial to everybody. So, okay, let's go see really if this is a good product or not. Let's go talk to a CAD. During conferences, we talk to different CADs. I mean, that's where we network. That's where we find out Oh, what do y'all have? What do you have? Are y'all having this much trouble? Yes, we are. Did they do this? You know, what, I mean, talking to other CADs is a big thing. When somebody does something, okay, so how did you handle that? Okay, so when you have a CAD that you're confide in, of course you're gonna go say, hey, show me. And Cameron County was very gracious in sitting down with us. The chief, the two IT guys, the manager of I don't know, he wasn't residential, of marketing, and they showed us, look, this is what it is. And the guys too, I mean, they had the same reservations at first as you, because their loss of control was their big issue. We can't get into a system to change it. We can't get into a system to make whatever we want to do. We can't get into a system to defer.
Well, it was my understanding that both companies said you can get into the system and change what you need. What they both represented just now.
I'm talking about when it comes to querying.
Okay.
Okay, so, when you want to pull certain information out, you can go in there and do a query. What Cameron told us, the IT guys told us, it says, everything is built in. Now, there is, and talking to another CAD, Webb County, they've had it since 2020. That was one of the references. Okay, let's call them. He says, everything, Irma, how did they say? Everything is on the fly. Everything is built in. You press the button, and it creates these. Because they feed off of what other CADs need. What does this CAD need? Oh, they need be able to check to see if anything has zero value. And these are examples. I mean, I don't know if they have that, but I'm sure they do. If there anything that has it, okay, so there's something already built in there. Where PAX, Neil has to go, or Daniel, has to go in and create a query to say, okay, pull all these properties that have zero value. So, and GSA, now you have to customize some of those things where it gives the IT department a little bit, where they can go into the system. We want, because that's a big issue with the Neil, is him having to go and do stuff that he shouldn't. Okay, that, we should, if we're gonna have a system, we want a system that is a whole system, that we don't have to have somebody go and pull this and pull this. Hey, we want it to be there. We want it to be equal and uniform so that everybody has the same result. So, with PAX has to go in there, oh, we have to do one for commercial, one for residential. So why can't we just have one that does everything? So True Prodigy in the demos showed us like, okay, we just have one. And so talking to Cameron County, the IT is like, yeah, our power is gone, it's already there. They don't have to do that. Okay, but it's something that, but how does it work? They love it. It's so much easier. Everything runs smoothly.
But if they need to get into it, can they?
Yes. So that was brought up with Webb County.
That's really my biggest concern because
Yes.
we've got some
Right.
funky accounts here, as you all know.
Yes.
That they don't have down there. So especially when it comes to the heavy industrial
Right.
fiascos we've got. But so what is really the difference between the two of them?
Webb County, and I talked to the IT guy, and when I'm talking to these, not everybody, not the whole committee is available at the same time. Some people have days off to go with their kid to a field trip. Some people are sick. Some people have meetings. So as long as we have at least 2 to 3 of the committee, and then we, as whoever's in that conversation, will relay that to the rest of the committee, that's acceptable. Not everybody's gonna be available at the same time. So at the end, we did come back and have the whole committee, actually, I think Ronnie was sick that one day, the 4 of us, and we went step by step. Neil did voice his concerns about the process. I said, okay, you know, sometimes, you know, we do things a little backwards. There's been other instances where things have not been, done completely, but what do? You just don't scrap it. You start from the beginning and start over. So that's what we did on, last week, and we started. I said, okay, let's start from page one. Page one, we're gonna go through every one of these. Everybody had a proposal for each of the camera system, and we went paragraph by paragraph by paragraph. Went through each one of those, and we came into a consensus. So I think it's pretty unfair that Neil says that he was excluded from everything, because he wasn't.
I didn't say I was excluded from everything.
At the end, we made sure as a committee that, because Neil voiced his concerns, and of course we're going to listen to everyone's concerns, that everybody's on the same page. You know, there's gonna be disagreements, not everybody's gonna agree to it, you know, 100%, that's just life, you know. You go with the majority. The majority said, okay, you know, we're good with this. And there was a lot of times that Neil did agree. So for him to say that he's never seen any of those numbers,
No, I said I hadn't seen these numbers.
okay.
These numbers
For him-
changed from last time I saw them on Monday.
The only thing that changed was, there was a number that changed, and I was waiting for verification from GSA, was, on their proposal, on the part that says, CADs with over 200,000 parcels. Neil pulled up something on the internet that said 200 and something. Okay, the proposal did not list that. I contacted GSA, because, you know, what you see on the internet's not always true. So what's our best, you know, due diligence, right? Verify your numbers. I called GSA, they, you know, we ended up doing an email. I didn't hear something right away, so I called after. Okay, I need to know, in your system was, what does GSA support? You have a question?
Is there a question?
Just for clarification, I mean, looking at this here, Neil was a appointed committee member on this process.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so the 5 people that are in there are listed here on,
Page 3.
where,
Right.
you know, on this part here, where it gives you every committee member, and I wanted to point out what each committee member brought to the table. Because not, you know, Neil doesn't use the system as an appraiser. All he does is maintain it, right? But,
Okay.
you know, so,
All
I mean,
right.
not all he does, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you, Neil.
So-
I would like to, I mean, Ronnie is the guy in charge. I'm curious what your preference is, or,
Well, my
Thank you,
preference
Neil.
is, and it was an emphasis from the very beginning. See, over the years, John, we've had issues with Harris, or PAX, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of those issues stress the IT person. That stress comes from the entities to get their things on time. If we don't put those things out on time, then we get stressed, he gets stressed, staff will get stressed, then it comes to me. And this has been going on for several years. Whether it's an updated law that was passed, when they're in session, they'll pass laws that take effect, let's say in September, all right? These guys already know that in April, May, or June, when they pass this law to be effective in September, they're not on it until after September. So then we have to, Neil over here and staff has to get it outside the box to implement what that law is. And we shouldn't have to do that. Now they've hired a third-party vendor. It's called BIS, all right? Well, we didn't pay all this time for them to hire a third-party vendor, all right? My emphasis was to make sure we find something that's going to be easier for us to do, to where IT department does not have to do things outside the box. That's been consistent for the last, 5 years, Neil? 5, 6 years. And it's gotten worse. It's gotten better. That's why we started to look at, I said, we need to start changing things here to make it better, not only for staff, but for the taxpayer as well, and for the other entities as well. See, our coordination with the tax office is very, very close. It's in the wine pretty well. So long as we get things done here straight, his office becomes a lot easier to work with. The same thing happens with him. Whenever he needs information, he'll send to us. It has to make sure that it also coordinates with the system itself. So what we did, like I said, when we first got here, I said, okay, I don't want to be talking to vendors. I want to be talking to actual appraisal districts that are actually working with these systems. That way, they're going to tell me the truth. Whereas if I listen to a vendor, he or she's going to tell me everything I want to hear. Okay? That's the reason why there was only one appraisal district that we went, and that was in Cameron County. All other appraisal districts were pretty much further than that. So we decided to pick up the phone and let's make these phone calls to either the chief appraiser or the IT department. And we got some very honest and good opinions as to what they have currently. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's going to create our office here jobs a lot easier than what it's been in the last few years. There's a lot of monies that we cannot pay. Let's say Neil wants a raise. Okay, well, I'm doing all of these kind of things because it's not in the system. And I have to break my head to make sure I can get these done. And he does that, okay? But then there's only so much money that we can give to certain employees to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. So that's another reason why I needed to make sure that when we get this new system, it's going to complement what the work that is done here by the staff.
Well, actually, my question was, we're basically looking at two.
Yes,
Which one do you like and why?
and True Prodigy.
Okay.
I think it
And
has a
why?
lot more to offer. We don't have to be doing a lot of other things. Plus, it's here in the state of Texas. Plus, I can pick up the phone and call other appraisal districts that are currently using it, and they'll tell me what is good and what is bad. And that's what they've done. You know, we have not tried to, let's say, backdoor anything or favor one over the other. The numbers
No, I
will
don't care about
reflect
that
that.
crap. I was just wondering what
I know.
your opinion was.
No, my opinion is like I just said.
The only thing I would have liked to have seen is perhaps a visit to somebody who uses one or the other.
Yes, I
One
know.
or the other.
The other one, the
That-
closest
that's-
one would have been Odessa, Texas.
You know,
That's
fine.
GSA.
But
And they just, I think they just got on.
Oh,
But everybody
Hector
had a
has been there
demo. Yeah.
2 years. Okay, so, but, you know, I want to go back to the scoring. Where if you go to the last page, if you look at the first part, the major part of the RFP of what the system does, they're pretty close, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you cannot say that one was, well, it's not fair to say that this RFP was geared for one company. Because if it was, wouldn't that reflect a greater discrepancy? Where the scoring comes in, where the change, the difference is the proposed solution implemented in appraisal districts with 200,000 or more parcels in Texas? That's a big difference. Yes, one, no, the other. So, you know, same, you know, and then the other one, finish 3 or more cycles.
Does Hector have?
Hector,
48,000 parcels.
Yeah.
okay, but, okay, so this is a clarification that I asked and that I didn't receive from GSA.
Messaging me when I was traveling here yesterday.
Okay, but it wasn't, so I verified with Hector.
Hector.
GSA supports the real and personal property. They do not support the minerals. The mineral counts are counted into the 250,000 accounts. So there's, I think, 158, 2, 3, I don't know the exact number, mineral counts. GSA does not support those. So they don't have over 200,000 in Hector. So their minerals are done, like ours here, you know, TY
When you say
Pickett
they're
does
not
theirs, and then they
supported-
transfer it into PACS, so PACS supports those.
So when you say they're not supported, does that mean that they don't do?
They don't value, they don't do nothing. It doesn't even go through their system. It's done through, they told me minerals,
Mineral Pro, we
Mineral
developed
Pros,
it.
yeah.
They're currently being used in a system, we developed a system for them called Mineral Pro that they implemented before they were ready to switch to CAMA.
Mhm.
We are currently creating evaluation technique in our system, a whole new one, so that they can evaluate it inside of the CAMA system. So effectively, we value the full 248,000 parcels.
Well, Hector told me that they're thinking about the minerals going into GSA. So that's, I spoke to the IT person there. Her name was Shelby. So,
Yeah, and if you had spoken to Lane, he could have clarified better.
yeah.
But they are one of the only counties that actually values their own minerals. They don't go out to a third party like attorney firm to get those valued. And they want to start to bring that valuation piece inside of the CAMA system. So we're developing a very complex way for them to be able to do that. And we'll have it done before this next cycle where they go for notices.
So, how do we handle our minerals?
T.Y. Pickett
Thank you,
appraises them,
thanks.
then they transfer them into
And then they
us.
transfer it into the system?
Right.
I'm gonna respect the, talking about the money end of it, but Ronnie, do you have any concerns over the price differences?
Very well. I got a little bit of a concern, and that's where the negotiations will come into play. The lady also alluded to the fact that part of the price that you're getting is some things that are already in place that we perhaps might not use. So that means that what we don't use will be coming off the price as well. See?
Okay.
In the past, with the system that we have in place, anything that they put in there that's new, we have to pay for that to have access to it. That shouldn't be, all right? But that's the way it's been for years with us, with the PAX system. We're trying to get away from that, make it more cost effective. And of course, the system, like I said, if we don't need a certain program, then we're not gonna utilize that and we're not gonna pay for it.
All right, it's just that it's pretty significant.
Yes,
is all I'm-
it's about a $200,000 difference.
My math works.
You were looking at the 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What did we budget for this 1 year, for this?
It's over $1 million, I think it is.
Oh, you don't wanna say that. You could have-
No, the budget.
I know, but
Well, do we
No,
need
well,
to go into
that's-
executive
that's
session?
our-
That's a part of this decision process, so do we
Okay.
need to go into executive session to discuss that?
Well, I thought
Unless there's a legal question about it, but I don't know that there is.
No, I thought the public saw our budget.
oh, they know.
So it's public information. I asked
Yeah.
what we budgeted for this.
1.2.
That was my question.
1.2.
Okay. I know that's okay to say.
Yeah, and that's in the budget.
Going back to the mineral conversation,
Mhm.
given that they have a program, or both systems have a program to assess the minerals, T.Y. Pickett does it now. Would that reflect any savings on costs and duties of a third party like T.Y. Pickett in the future if we have this implemented in our system today?
T.Y. Pickett appraises them and then they transfer them to our system.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially be the same thing.
Okay.
But as far as implementing, that's another good negotiation. You know, what time period do we want to start it? What time do we, when do we want to implement it? When do we want to go live? That's all part of the negotiation. Because it depends on, where we're at as a district, we're getting ready to send notices out. You don't want to start a conversion during that. So,
Going back to the conversion timeline and understanding how important it is, do we not have a choice dependent upon our decision today, or can we convert any time that we want, or is?
okay, the part of the RFP did have each proposal supply a timeline. From what I remember, GSA, if we had to push this back a little bit, so that, I think y'all were, let me see, I think it was in 26 to go live. And then I think True Prodigy it was a shorter time period. Do y'all remember the time period? Okay, so reviewing that, I remember that I made that a comment, okay, look, when we're looking at the timeline, then there's a shorter time period from implementation to live on True Prodigy. And GSA was just like a couple of months longer. But, those are just estimated timelines, being that, you know, True Prodigy has done a conversion from PAX. It may be shorter, being that GSA has not, you know, there could be a lot of hiccups there.
But
So-
regardless, we are able to choose the
Yes.
time that we
Right,
convert.
yeah,
Okay.
that's something we can negotiate. Now, talking to Hector, you know, I asked them, how long did it take from, you know, from your RFP to going in live? And so, you know, they started in 2018 and didn't actually go in live till 2020, or it was 2 years, 22, yeah, because they had 2 cycles, or 21. So they were still in development at that time, because I found that kind of like, wow, that's a long time to go through this whole process from RFP to live. And so clarification came from the assistant chief. Was it, no, the interim, right?
That was Johnson.
Oh, no, well, clarification was that they were in the process of still developing the program for Texas. So, you know, we did not take this lightly. I mean, we really did a lot of work, and it took us, you know, lots of hours, lots of time, lots of meetings, you know.
Several months.
So, yeah. And we understand that this is a lot of money, taxpayers' money. And, you know, in order to, you know, produce something good for the taxpayers, you want to have a good system, you know.
And if I can just speak to the standard in the statute of a selection or whoever is going to get the contract, because we are dealing with competitive sealed proposals, it must be awarded to the responsible offerer whose proposal is determined to be the most advantageous to the district, considering the relative importance of price and other evaluation factors included in the request for proposals. So that's the standard that the board should take into consideration.
One of the things I definitely want to get a better handle on is price.
And that can, right.
I'm not really, personally, I don't think I'm ready to award a contract at this time. This is just me.
Just to clarify, so this would be a two-step process. So basically, they've determined that they're qualified, meaning they meet the minimum requirements, and then you do a selection, and we would ask you to do it, to get a little technical, you'd be doing a conditional selection. Once you do the selection, then that would open up them being able to go negotiate with them. And so that doesn't work out, then we come back to you and y'all can do a different selection if y'all needed to.
Well,
Or you can select
so-
several.
You can select more than
You
one.
can select
Is
more
there-
than one to do your negotiations
so
also.
is there one company that does something that the other does not? Because I'm looking at cost to taxpayers too, and so if everything, if both do the same thing, I'm more inclined to go dollars here.
Okay, so, you know what, I did write something up on that.
While you think of that,
Yeah.
I also have a question about, you know, the dollars, but I guess it would have to be an executive session.
It would have to be a legal question.
No, but I mean, we're talking about the decision, which means we want to talk about all the things, including the cost.
Yeah, no, and when you go into executive session, it has to be a legal question.
Okay, so then I can ask my question now about dollars, right?
Yeah.
But then Letty said that I can't.
Well, I
Well,
asked,
we recommend that you not only because that could affect the
Well, I
negotiation.
I have a very legitimate question.
Okay, well, you can.
Well, maybe the vendor should leave the room.
That could be, that
it's
could
still,
be an
it's
option.
still recorded. Yeah, it's open.
Yeah, it's an open.
So then that means what Letty said before about not mentioning dollars is not true?
That's not that it's not true, it's just a recommendation, because we
Okay.
want to be in a good negotiating position, it's not to
Okay,
tell.
so I'm gonna ask my question then.
Sure.
And I guess it's to Ronnie.
Yes.
If we budgeted less, how would the district manage being over our budget $111,000? I mean, yeah, I think that was the difference.
We have other monies in other areas that we can make up the difference if it comes to that.
So, looking at the budget, when we approved that, and looking at every line item that we budgeted for, where are the areas where we have, I guess, some extra that we could pull from, is what you're
We
saying?
had some monies in the past, we've done this in the past, where we had earmarked some projects. And as time went, we got to those projects, it was not needed, so those monies were utilized elsewhere at that point.
So with a decision like this, with that significant amount, we might want to actually identify
Yes,
specifically
yes.
to see if we do actually have room
Mhm.
and if we really should move over $100,000 from another place
Mhm. Yes.
before we, because I know we're talking about a couple of choices, but do we have a choice? If we have a budget that we have a budget, and
Right.
that's our budget.
Exactly, and what happens then is in negotiations, we come up with a lesser number then, or a higher number, or the
If-
number that's
yeah.
not there. Then we'll come back
Mhm.
to the board and say,
Mhm.
hey, we're gonna need this much more.
Right,
What direction do you want us to have?
That's
And
one
at that
side.
point-
yeah.
At that point, we'll have options as to where we can go.
So I
If we
I
can.
understand that part. We already
Okay.
talked about that. But the other part is, if we even have that ability with our budget, like you said, you're saying we have something to pull from, $111,000, but if we don't, then we're counting on those negotiations have to be $111,000 less.
Mhm.
So, we can definitely do both at the same time. We can do this part, what we can do now.
Yes,
You also have the option to okay, this feature would be nice now, but maybe we need to wait a year, and then that cost can go to the next year, depending on.
But you're
So
saying,
you
that you're
have
kind of
options.
assuming that is going to happen, that they
that's
are
if.
gonna go down $111,000.
I don't know what.
Because otherwise, we just don't, we didn't budget for it.
Right. But,
Yeah.
some of the things that, that were the extra cost to modify, well, if we can't have that right now, maybe we can have it next year. Something, it goes back to all.
Right, I understand. But what I'm saying is, we don't know that for sure. You're making a lot of assumptions
Yes,
that they can go
until-
down $111,000, maybe they can't.
Well,
Yeah, well,
and
that's until we go to the negotiation.
But what I'm saying is, even while we're waiting for that, we can, on our side, go ahead and identify right now, can we take $111,000 from another area? If the answer is no, then we can't.
We'd have to look at that. I would
Exactly. So we could start on that now.
Well,
That's us.
one of the things we need to, I'm pulling back from the presentation is that, my question back to about the modules and so forth. It is my understanding, GSA, when you get it, you get the whole thing and you're not having to buy extra modules. Is that correct?
That's a note that I had, the add-on costs.
Yeah.
There were some items that were cost to modify with both.
Okay.
And I think, if I remember right, GSA's cost to modify was 127,000. What was it? Something. It was an extra 127,000. We added that to that too. True Prodigy's cost to modify, they actually gave us two options. Option one was their base, and then with all the cost to modify. And then they gave us option two with all the modifications. So, as a committee, we chose to go with option two and see which, that included everything. Now, when we went through each of those costs to modify, there were some that weren't, but the price was not much difference from picking each one to the option B for True Prodigy. And then I verified with True Prodigy, the cost to modify, is that price a recurring price every year, or if it's a one-time. So they clarified that. And the same thing with GSA. They had their cost to modifies, and then which of these were an annual charge or which one were just a one-time part of the implementation. So we clarified that, and that's where you'll get those totals in there. And it also reflects in the 5-year. We had one other camera system that had a increase of 6% per year. So we built that in to the 5-year estimate. So those things were all taken into account.
How long are the quotes good for?
That would be part of the negotiation to see, how many years we can lock in.
No, that's not
I'd
what
kinda
I'm
like to see
asking.
a
I'm
deeper
asking,
dive.
they gave us a quote. How long will they honor that quote?
Let me see.
Well, they're here, you can ask them.
Yeah?
Yeah, I remember, I know they wrote it down, but can you,
We'll honor that quote for up to 12 months.
12 months?
Same current year, the 2025.
I'd kind of like to see a little deeper dive into what the modules we need versus what we don't.
Okay, so do you have your RFP?
No, I want to see numbers. I want to see a deep dive on this because I'm looking at the 5-year difference and it's pretty significant. So I think we probably need to come back with this, in my opinion. I don't know, I'm one of several here.
Okay, so
I'd like to see how, and have to just bring it back to see what's what models do we know we need, because what I don't want to have happen is we get this, we choose one, and then we've got to come back and we've got to add a bunch of crap. Well, we need 50,000 for this, or we need 10,000 for that. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
In my own office, and that's where the cost can come back and bite you, or bite us, rather as a board. I really want to get a handle on what, I mean, I think the appraisal district and y'all's group should be able to come up and really narrow down and look at both products and know what it is we need, and then also identify anything that's missing, anything that we need to come back and obtain before we make a decision on this, because I'm looking at it.
Yeah, because
The 5-year cost difference is quite significant, and so I want to actually be able to, I mean, I'm a numbers guy, I ask a lot of questions,
Yeah,
and that's.
feel good about it, right?
Get used to it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to identify that, because I'm not ready to make a decision on this today.
Okay.
In all honesty.
Can I make a recommendation?
Yes, please.
You all could select both and have them go back and negotiate with both, because I think that's where you're gonna get well, how much, if we take out this module, what kind of a discount can you give it me versus this is what we need? And then they can come back and talk to you all about,
That'd be
because
smart.
I don't know otherwise if it's gonna be as specific
Sure.
as the board would need it, without fleshing it out with the vendors themselves, because we know what we want, but how are they gonna be able to lower the price on any of that for us? We don't know without talking to them.
What's your thoughts?
That'd be
sounds
kind
like
of
a goal.
like,
I don't
that'd be kind of like a-
understand why we would need to select both just for them to see what they can do on the quote. Because ultimately, I know we're only going to select one. So when we select two, just so they can do that, can they not do that without us selecting them?
I mean, technically, there's 4 vendors,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if you just want them to go back and negotiate with 2 of the 4 vendors, I would think that would need board approval. If
Yes.
everybody agrees.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
For
yes.
them to go back, not to have to officially select them, but
Well,
just
and
to
that's
just to
different than
ask
awarding a
them.
contract, right? So that's the second step, that's the second part of it. Once they go, you select, they go back, they negotiate, they come back, and then the other step is to award the contract, so. We're
Yeah,
not
I guess
awarding
it's
a
just-
contract to anybody
Yeah, I
right
guess it's
now.
just the word select means like I pick them, but we're
That's-
not picking them. You're just saying the word select to ask them to go back and,
I mean, in the
go
procurement
back.
world, it's
Sure, yeah.
actually selecting.
So it'd be a
Mhm.
short list.
Yeah, it'd be 2.
Yeah. And we're not selecting any yet. We're
No,
just creating a
it's
short
just on a
list and
short
asking them,
list,
yeah,
yes.
of
And
course.
I really kind of want to fish out some of the technical data on this too, so, I mean, I get how this has to work. I mean, you lived this nightmare, and I've lived the nightmare. So it is super, super critical. And And I do appreciate it.
Sorry,
What you
guys.
had to say. You know, I want to make sure that the technical guy is being listened to, please. I mean, I know sometimes as leaders, and I'm guilty of it, you know, I get these ideas. In all honesty, we looked at a software company, and I was all gung-ho going with the software company for tax collection because I'm not too crazy about what we got.
Yeah.
Well, when it came to working with you guys and how those things work, I'm not a pro at this thing, I'm not the IT guy. It became, Ralph made it pretty apparent to me that there was gonna be some problems, and so we got off of it. So,
So maybe we can reach out to other CADs that have,
I would
integrated the
recommend
tax.
placing a visit to
Yeah.
people who are using GSA also, and doing
Okay.
a site visit.
that
I
would
really
be,
would.
that would be in Odessa.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
But I heard you say
We're spending
include
a lot of
Neil.
money.
Yeah.
We're gonna spend a
Yeah.
lot of money. It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine to take that road trip
Okay.
and go do that, because, this,
We can
I don't
set-
think
we
there's
can set
really
that
gonna
up.
be a problem with either one of these systems. We just gotta make sure we're getting the most bang for the buck for the taxpayers. I talked to Denton County. They had nothing but great things to say about True Prodigy. I talked to, the Bell County Tax Assessor Collector, who just went with, tax assessor, Chief Appraiser.
Chief Appraiser.
And they just went with GSA. And he gave me a whole laundry list of reasons why they chose to do that. But I wanna make sure we're talking to all these people and we're giving both companies a fair shake.
Right.
And that we are making a decision that's based on what this appraisal district needs.
Yeah, that's all.
And ultimately what our taxpayers need. And
Right.
to make sure that we're getting the most bang for the buck. Yes, Ed?
Couple of general questions. How long do we expect to be on this software after we convert?
Jeez, I would hope this would be the software that we could use for at least 10 years, you know.
That was my impression.
I would hope, I mean, I don't know what the consensus is on
I
that.
wouldn't think you'd want too many conversions in your life.
Right. I mean, our last conversion was in 2010, that was 15 years
Okay,
ago.
second question. What work have you done to satisfy yourself that these companies are financially stable and they'll last for 10 years, 20 years?
I did not check.
That's a good question.
Oh, you mean like a Dun and Bradstreet on them, sort of? Yeah.
Yeah, I have not checked that.
That's.
I'm kind of
that's
interested in that.
Okay, well, don't be- the only reason we didn't check that, because it wasn't in the
That's fine.
RFQ, I mean, RFP.
Art.
Yeah, RFP. It wasn't in there. We tried to stick really close to what was in here and what was, and not to try to go outside this, because if it's not listed, then we
We have
shouldn't,
an issue.
we shouldn't have a lot of weight, you know, to that, but I don't know, are we allowed to do that? I'm sure we
consider,
could, right? Yeah, we can take that into consideration. I can
If we're
try to
doing a
look.
decision between two companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Would be a
It's
little
the
bit more
most
thorough.
advantageous to the district.
Yes,
Mhm.
okay, I'll write it down.
Anything else?
Anything else? So what, I need a motion.
Well, your motion is,
To choose not to choose?
is describing that they do what you just described,
Okay,
right?
so-
About looking
For
at
the
the
two.
other county and traveling?
Negotiating with the two.
Negotiation
Negotiating
with
with
two
two.
and traveling to go visit.
And go see physically.
Physically visit another.
And the other piece is yes, if y'all can come back with
Yeah.
where you could possibly get that from. Okay.
And we really, and I wanna make sure that we're getting a good drill down to exactly what we need, because we don't wanna be coming, adding
Okay.
Right.
modules down the road.
Yeah,
So-
because see, with the system that's in place, like I said earlier, over the past years, there's new things that come on. But it's not automatically yours. You have to pay for it. See, and we've been paying for years for new things that actually we shouldn't have paid for. But it's shared among the other CADs that's also in the same, with the same vendor. See, and that's what we're trying to get away from, that once we choose this, we're not gonna be getting a hiccup to pay, and they use that for an excuse to pay for their benefits at the office, okay? Which normally what's a percentage of increase per year with PACs?
5.
Yeah, 5%, that takes care of their benefits, healthcare benefits
Mhm.
at their office.
Mhm.
So that's what we pay for the addition
Mhm.
every year. So. Up to you.
All right, so we can, there's a motion to,
It's basically it's basically those the three main items.
Visit Odessa Financial Stability and integrate budget.
and then do a deep
Yeah.
dive on, and then
And
come
then
back
look-
and make a final decision
Second.
between the two.
Yes, those three
Between
main
GSA
items.
and between,
Yes.
True
Right.
Prodigy.
So motion to select True Prodigy and GSA as the final two candidates, and to have the appraisal board, or appraisal district visit Odessa and get some understanding there. Understand the financial stability of each company, and then understanding where we will be utilizing our budget and according to what we are going to make a final decision on, and where the monies will come from if it is above
Yeah.
budget.
There you go.
And to negotiate, so you said to select, but also to negotiate with the two, correct?
Yes,
Just as a
Yes.
point of
and to
clarification.
negotiate.
Okay.
Mhm. Negotiate, select,
Second.
and look for money.
So we got a motion from James McGill, a second by John Cudd. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, guys, I appreciate that, really do.
Here.
Chief Appraiser.
All right, we don't have anything for executive session,
Correct.
so we'll skip on down to discussion action for relative items to be discussed. We did that. So Chief Appraiser report.
All right, very short, to the point. We have a conference coming up, most of you that are gonna be going, are most of you gonna be there from Sunday through Wednesday, or is some of you gonna be there just
Just Tuesday.
one night and then the following day?
One night following day for myself on Tuesday.
Okay, now, can I say that? Okay, what I'll do is, normally this is what I do. When we go to a conference, I'll put you on a thread on my phone. That way, I'm not gonna be looking for an individual, I just put it on the phone, say, we're gonna meet downstairs at this time, so we can go here. Then everybody will check off. Is that permissible with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay?
That's what.
The only thing I will say about that, as long as there's
Don't
no
reply back.
business discussed,
No.
because then it could constitute a quorum and it's not a notice meeting.
Right, and that's.
We
what
love
I-
our open meetings laws, don't we?
And that was one.
Do not reply all.
Yeah, exactly. Also too, we're also right now, MAPS review, we're under the scope right now. The appraisers from MAPS, from the comptroller will be here next week into the office. And they're gonna be doing some things for at least a week or so, or maybe longer. And then, the update of Board of Directors training. We've coordinated, and I'll ask Melissa to give you all the specific date of this month, I think it is.
Yes, February 26th at 10 a.m. And so we've looked at a different law firm to come in. They're available on that date. They're about $1,000 less expensive than the prior one that we were talking to, covering the same information, coming in from Houston. And so there's a start time of 10 o'clock. Is everybody available on that date and time?
On the 26th?
Yes, sir,
26th.
26th at 10 o'clock. I know that's coming up quick.
And it'll be for what, 3 hours?
It's gonna be 2 hours.
2 hours. It'll
So
cost
we'll
us,
get you out by lunch.
yeah, and it'll cost us what, 4,000?
2,000,
2,000.
about 2,000, that's what we estimated.
Is that in our
We'll get
budget?
invoiced after that.
No less. We'll bring in dessert. We'll bring in dessert.
Can everybody do that? We don't want to schedule them if we can't be there.
Yeah. And we'll make a phone call to Devin, Gabby, and, who else? That's it? That's it? Yeah, Gabby, oh, and Deanna, those three.
Is everybody available?
No, not today. No, it's happening.
I'm good.
And John, you good?
Yes, I have a, everybody's gonna look at me like I have two heads, but that's okay. It won't be the first time. I'd like, I'd just like to have a study to see where it would be cheaper, it would save taxpayers money. If, I mean, this going up 10% every year is gonna keep killing people. Kevin's got a whole list of people who lost their houses. He has it every month. And I'm not saying it's your fault, Ronnie. I'm just saying it's the process. So, I'd like a study to see about every year we split the county up in thirds, and one year we appraise a third, the other 2/3, they know what to count on for 2 years or 3 years. And, you know, there's a lot of families out there that just can't, you know, keep getting beat up. And I get it, Delmar, the school districts, all totally understand it. They can issue bonds, I don't care.
Okay,
You know,
but-
we need to figure this one out. You can explain it, but this is what I'm asking for.
All right, but you
Okay?
see, the bottom line here is,
Well, and let's not, so is that, I'm
That-
sorry.
that-
So is that an
No,
item
because
for
I did this
next?
before and Ronnie
That's
explained it,
for
and then it
next
didn't
time.
get
Okay.
put on the agenda.
So really, I
I'm
think
telling you, I want it on the agenda.
Yes.
He
with
wants
that.
the reappraisal plan on the agenda. is
Yes.
what-
Yes.
what's-
And that's fine.
So-
I don't think we were done with the chief appraiser's
no,
report. Sorry.
we need just one more thing.
You just want more items.
It's just an update on the minerals contract. We're still working on that for the RFP or Q. We're working on that. It's gonna take us a little bit, but we'll get it done.
Mhm.
Hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll give you another update. We can go from there. Other than that, guys, I'd like to recommend, or not recommend, but thank the staff for the work that they do. This goes on every single day. There's a lot of things that these guys can do outside the box. And we always look to find ways to make it easier for them to do what they do. We also talk to taxpayers when they come here to make sure that we are as transparent as we're supposed to be, and we can be. We provide the information as to why that value might have gone up. At the same time, though, at the end of the day, tax rates is what has to do with your taxes, not necessarily your value. It's your tax rates. Your entities are the ones that are going to increase your taxes, not the appraisal district. We made sure that whenever a taxpayer comes through here, we let them know, you need to make the meeting when they start adopting a tax rate. You're not done once you get with your number here. There's
So-
still the next process.
Hang on a minute, so
And I
let me
know-
understand, so everybody needs more taxes, so we go to Kevin's house and say, Cal Island needs more taxes, so Kevin, your evaluation's going up 20% because they need more taxes. Am I not, am I?
John, we don't do that.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure,
That's actually
because,
illegal.
yeah, that's my point. Yeah,
And so I think, and that brings up something else to add for the agenda.
So we're on 19,
Let-
okay.
On 19, let me do an explanation of the truth and taxation process so everybody understands
You'll make-
what it
That's
is.
awesome.
You gonna make a
Yes.
PowerPoint?
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll go through it, so that way you guys can understand what's driving the tax rates,
Mhm.
what's driving the value, you know, the independence factor, how it works, how the budgets are figured out, and I'll cover all that.
Mhm.
You know, probably I can do it within about 30 minutes, but I can show you how this is. It's kind of I call it a truth and taxation for dummies, because it's a 30,000-foot overview, but at least so you understand the system. And I think that's where a lot of the big misunderstandings are with a lot of people on the valuation process and the tax rates and what constitutes raising tax, what constitutes not, and what the T&T process comes down to. So I'll
Right.
cover all that, and I think that'll make things make better sense.
I'd appreciate that. I would. I just want to, make it clear that we were elected and they changed it for a reason.
Yes.
They didn't change it so we could just keep rocking down the road and just keep doing the same old crap that we've been doing. So we need change.
We get it, yeah.
Okay.
And understanding the problem is, understanding the current situation is a way to come up to the solution to fix it. So-
Okay. I still want to study for the third.
No, that'll be part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it, that's the reappraisal plan.
Okay.
And that'll be on the agenda for next meeting along with the T&T.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anything else
I
for?
don't have anything for the agenda per se, but I have something really small, I think, that's administrative ask. Whenever we get a list of the disbursements, and I'm assuming this is in Excel and what I'm gonna ask is not gonna cause too much headache, but I see that it's in order of check, is there any way we can give this an order of amount,
Higher amounts versus.
higher to lower?
Yes.
And then maybe a further explanation of maybe like anything over $5,000? Because a description here, you know, it's not a lot of room to put that. And so, you know, when we see something for $152,000, you know, if it's, I don't know, maybe it's an annual contract, but I don't know, you know, just, if that would be helpful, I think, for us
Right.
to look, okay.
Okay, and that's when I bring you the checks to sign, I can explain why
Mhm.
you're having to sign the check.
Yeah,
And there's also an.
but not just for me, but for the whole
No,
board
no,
to
no,
see.
no,
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
but Irma will take care of that for next
Oh,
week.
good, good,
Okay?
okay.
Because I think we did that in the past,
Oh.
where you started with your higher number and.
And maybe discuss, just like the
Right,
top
and put a
5
little
things.
insert there, say what it's for.
Yes, great, thank
We
you.
can do that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anything else?
Well, this, this was also kind of like consent, like, yeah, let's just approve this, but this doesn't come with our, packet, right? Can this come with our packet?
Yeah, we can start doing
Okay,
that.
okay,
And see, and basically, that's just giving you an insight as to all the lawsuits that we're having to deal with.
right.
See, and then, I think John asked whether we don't hire an outside firm to do, yes, we do. It's only outside of what we do here for the high-end properties.
Mhm.
Could
Will
be
be for
invest-
refineries,
That will be done by an outside firm.
that's it.
They will help to
Mhm.
get everything ready, and then they will take care of the rest.
Do we approve that, or you guys already have that
What?
outside for the
We
refinery?
don't have an outside, that's just an example of something that we don't do, is we don't handle the refineries. We would have to hire outside for
Okay.
that.
And then when we do hire, then we'll come back to you and let
Yes.
you know,
Okay.
Mhm.
okay?
Yes.
I have a request for just a simple update of the construction that we were planning on doing on the 3rd floor. I know that was brought up a few meetings ago, and then understanding there's new ARB rooms and all of that. What's the status on the construction projects?
We'll leave it for the next agenda item. I mean, it's not on the agenda right now, so we can't discuss that.
We can
Okay.
put it on there.
But we will put it on the next
Well, we can
item.
go meet with Ronnie.
I mean, on the next agenda.
Just as long as
Thank
not a
you.
quorum.
There won't be.
As long as not a quorum. I'm kidding, go ahead.
All right, anything else? All right, if we don't have anything else, I'll have to take a motion to adjourn.
You all want to stay
Nobody
here?
wants to adjourn?
Don't let you.
Motion to adjourn.
Caitlin makes motion and John seconds. Meeting's adjourned at 11:18.
Thank you.